I've just took a massive bet on Solana, and I want to cover what is going on in the cryptocurrency market. Now, obviously, we just got through with the FOMC. Jerome Powell came out pretty much. It looked very dovish, but then the way he was speaking, it almost ended up being not very hawkish, but it just gave like a very weird kind of tone. Like he kind of just looked defeated, in my opinion. And I think that this creates a landscape of just a lot of liquidity injections because not only did they cut 50 basis points, but they're also pricing or factoring in that there's going to be 2 additional rate cuts this year. And I believe one like around March next year, but that all remains to be seen. What I'm personally doing is taking a step back and looking at what is actually going on in the background, because they have pretty much like issuing debt to buy their bonds. They're printing money. They want to let inflation run a little bit hotter than anticipated because the jobs market and all of that is kind of suffering. So they need to kind of weigh out the balance of their dual mandate, which is inflation and jobs. Now, obviously the inflation, I think, he pretty much said that the tariffs is probably going to be short-lived or at least contained. And so now they're going to focus on the jobs. So what does this translate to? Essentially, they're going to start slowly reducing the interest rates. So that's going to be good for people that maybe have their money tied up in real estate, or people that have their money in bonds, or any sort of thing where they need to have loans and they need to either refinance or whatever the case may be. This is going to be good long term. So I think that risk on assets are going to be the way that investors kind of speculate, because whenever you have cheaper money, which is lower interest rates, people want to make higher returns and they can take on a little bit more risk. So I think that that's why we see gold hitting an all-time high. I think Bitcoin is a little bit lagging, but I do think that it's going to shortly follow the price action. And I think that once the dollar continues to weaken, because that's typically what happens when you have a little bit of inflation with cheaper interest rates and just, competition all over the board. I think that obviously Bitcoin is around $115,000 right now. I do see it pushing towards an all-time high, maybe not this month, but probably in like October, November-ish. So I think that when that happens, my speculation is going to be altcoins are going to go crazy. I think that first Ethereum needs to break above about $5,000, and I think Solana needs to break about $300. Now, Solana's been very, very strong recently, and the main reason being is because when it comes to Wall Street and speculations, first, they all kind of pumped the price of Bitcoin and they've made a lot of money, to be fair. And second, they've been also allocating into Ethereum. We have different kind of funds that are all putting billions and billions of dollars in trying to accumulate Ethereum now, similar to how Michael Saylor was using strategy to accumulate Bitcoin. Now, the markets are typically they look to the future of what's going on. So what I can see happening is they're going to start speculating, well, what's the next crypto that we can kind of speculate on and kind of pump the price of? And I think that the one that makes the most amount of sense is Solana, because it has just such a powerful backing. You have stable coins that are being minted on it. And it's just kind of the darling of this cycle, if I had to kind of give an opinion on that. So I do think that the majors between Bitcoin, Solana, and Ethereum, I think those are going to do extremely well. And with the prices of specifically Ethereum and Solana going up, I do see that this pushes us into I want to say alt season, but not a typical one like we've seen since like 2016, 2017, 2020, 2021. I think that there's going to be a select quality altcoins that are going to continue to run. And so I think that Solana is going to capture a lot of that, just because the market cap is, relatively speaking, a lot smaller than Ethereum, but the use case for Solana is extreme. And I think that once these spot ETFs come out, that it's going to create a lot of demand for these cryptos. So I took a massive bet on Ethereum. I'll let you guys know how it's going. And if you guys have any questions, of course, feel free to drop them in the comments. Subscribe if you're not already, and smash the like button. I'll see y'all soon.